9:04, Wednesday, August 4th. Let's go right into the K-Wave News Zoom room where we're standing by with the curator for the Guam Museum, Dr. Maget Bavakwa. Good morning, Maget.
Bananas Idus, half a day.
Bananas of Dula. So so the museum, I saw the flyer. We have the flyer. We are open for the museum's open basically, right? Is it limited hours? Can we just run through that?
Yes. Oh, yes. So the Guam Museum, starting this week and for the next few weeks, is open with limited hours. And so Tuesday through Friday, 10 to 2, you don't need to make a reservation. You can just walk in, but you can still make reservations if you'd prefer. We're giving people about 30 minutes in the museum, up to about 20 people at a time. And then that allows us to sanitize the exhibit and sanitize everything to make sure that everybody's safe and we're following public health guidance.
Right. Which guidance there?
And so there's we've received guidance from public health for sort of venues, theater venues, museums, and stuff like that.
And so you opened this week. Have you guys had some people come in to check it out?
Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of people, especially with things closed for a while. And especially during the summer, you get more people, even during a pandemic, people coming home from the States. They want to show their family someplace nice. And so, yeah, I've taken a bunch of people on tours, family visiting, haven't been home in 30 years, 20 years, 10 years. And the museum is a really special place to bring them to because, for a lot of them, the connection to the culture in the island maybe is just PDN news on Facebook or something like that. And so to really kind of spend 30 minutes, an hour even in sort of the main exhibit following the history of the Chamorro people, it's fun. It's engrossing.
There's a new exhibit, right? Have you guys opened that yet?
No, so we're putting it up right now. And that's the new exhibit that's going to be opening hopefully on the 15th of August will be a decolonization self-determination focused exhibit courtesy of Dr. Kevin Escudero, who's from Brown University. So he got a grant and a fellowship to come out and then sort of create an exhibit that can be used to educate the public about the history of the movement for self-determination. And so, so when next week, I would love to have the link come by. We can walk around as we get closer to everything being set up. I would love for you and Sabrina or anyone else to come and check it out. We can walk through and take a look at it.
Let's do it. Magabo, do we really need to bring someone from Brown University? I mean, decolonization, self-determination. You could have arranged this exhibit in your sleep, probably.
Because he's brown, eh?
Wait.
What, Jay?
Because he's brown, eh?
Oh, because he's brown. I'll be okay. Got it. I get it.
I do like to make that joke too. But no, he just he applied for a fellowship to pay for it, like a grant to cover the costs for the exhibit design and other things. And so we're grateful to Dr. Escudero for coordinating it,
right.
And for getting some resources for it.
Right. I wanted to cover real quick because I follow Guam Museum on Twitter, and you're doing, that's you, right? Are you running the social media?
I'm helping. I'm helping.
Right. So there's some cool little releases you guys have had with pictures, I guess, from your archives. And you kind of throw out these little tidbits about Guam history, right? And we're popping up some of the pics now on the Facebook live feed. So can we kind of talk about that? Because I think that's putting, the history in a way where it's easy for a lot of people to digest with their, these 2021 short attention spans.
Oh, yes. I think that's one thing that, museums around the world got reminded about during the pandemic is if you're closed down because people can't physically be there, does that mean your responsibility to the community ends? And of course it shouldn't. You have to adapt then. So if people can't come to the collection, you have to find ways to bring the collection, the education, the conversation to them. And so for our social media strategy, we're trying to just, as things happen in the news, as we reach different commemorations, different memorials, we find something in our collection, whether a picture or an event, an artifact, and we put it out there just to kind of stimulate conversation around that. So, like, it was raining this week, so then I had the staff. We posted a picture of a massive flood in 1950 on Marine Drive, where Marine Drive was covered with water, and so you had literal cars floating down Marine Drive.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I get a kick out of that kind of stuff. Again, so let's just go back to the limited opening. If people want to do tours, like you said, a lot of people are coming back from the States for the summer, and I love the museum. There's always something that when I was growing up, I was always thinking, like, why don't we have a museum, where people can go and just like be proud of this island and the people who are from it. So if people want to do like maybe a bigger group tour.
Yes. Oh, yes, you definitely can. And you get a discount if you bring in a tour, like a larger group of people. You qualify for a discounted rate for each ticket. And so if you want to, you can just call us here at the museum at 989-4455. You can email us at theguammuseum@gmail.com. And yeah, just make arrangements. And if the schedule permits, you can even request that a docent, or if my schedule permits, even me, I can take you on a tour through the exhibit. I mean, that's one of my joys here is just being able to shepherd people through it and then highlight things, point out things, and then even what's nice is when older people come through and then you show them like a picture from before the war and they say, "Oh, that's my uncle," or "Oh, we used to have this. I used to use this type of matate to make tatidzas, before." And so it's always really nice when you get different generations who can kind of share stories like that.
Hey, what's in those boxes behind you?
These are boxes from different archaeological digs on the island. And so down here you can't see, it's the Fort Soledad dig many years ago. And then up there, those are artifacts from Truman. And so we used some of the artifacts are in the exhibit itself, the permanent exhibit.
What about that
and
horn?
So,
horn what's that? The Horn Boston collection? Is that there in Agana?
Yes. And so one of the things that we're hoping to do, because you may have heard about there's the plans for the NAFTA, where sort of a lot of these remains, because there's hundreds of remains that are in collections here and then also around the world. And so one of the goals is to finish that NAFTA project so that way we can respectfully reintern, a lot of those human remains, because this is a move that a lot of indigenous communities are taking, because your bones, your artifacts are sitting in collections around the world, and, you try to repatriate, you try to bring them back home. And so, so that's one thing that we're working on is trying to organize the collection, find out where different remains come from, so that, because one of the plans for the NAFTA is that they be buried in village areas, right? So that if the remains come from Malesu, then there's a memorial section for the people of Malesu, one for the people of Tuman, and so on.
Do you ever get haunted with all those remains over there?
Well, so there's definitely a Tautamona or two in this building. So one day there was something going on. There was these strange noises in the main exhibit, and so we did spend a few minutes trying to figure out if it's like a bird, or once there was a hilita got in here. That was interesting. Definitely not Tautamona related.
Again, thanks for coming on. And
and so I'll be in touch about arranging for you to come down and check out the new exhibit.
Yes, we'll do that next week. All right.
Yeah, and of course, remember everybody, Dr. Miguet's Fanatsu podcast, already available on the KUM Podcast Network, where he has a wonderful interview with the amazing talent behind Microchild and how their songwriting process, some of the challenges, but also some of the creative freedom and expression that they have in actually writing songs in our island's native tongue.
Right, and also Miguet got to use the word docent in this interview, which pretty sure
bingo.
You've been waiting a while to use that
Bingo.
word. Jason, what is a docent?
I first learned of the proper use of the word docent down at the what used to be called Discovery Day, and the wonderful kids down there down in Humatec, they actually are trained and they memorize like all of this wonderful this dialogue, and they basically take you on a tour of all the historical sites.
Right. So again, what is a docent?
Good job. You passed, Jason.
There you go.
Thank you, Doc.
Right on. Right on.
All I got to do is defend my dissertation now. I'm right
That's
there.
it. Yep, you're there. Get hired. Thanks, Baguette.
Adios.
All right. Yeah, so a docent is basically the person who takes you around the museum and says, this is what this is about. It's like a tour guide, but fancy. It's a 9:14. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one and sexy Jason Solis. Good morning, Jason.
And we'll give our guests in the Zoom room the chance to either